The Austin A30 is a small family car produced by Austin from May 1952 to September 1956. It was launched at the 1951 Earls Court Motor Show as the New Austin 7, and was Austin's competitor with the Morris Minor. Originally only offered as a four-door saloon, two-door variants were introduced in late 1953, and in 1954 a van and van-based Countryman estate were made available. These later A30 had the trapezoidal speedo and dual brake, side lights. The fuel filler neck also moved to the rear panel as in the later A35 models. Despite having a smaller loading capacity than the equivalent BMCO-type minor-based vans, 60 cubic feet (1.70 cubic meters) as opposed to 76 cubic feet (2.15 cubic meters), the Austin van offered the same payload. Being slightly lighter and stiffer, it was favored by businessmen, and saw long service for many. One prototype sports tourer was built, but the vehicle was never put into production. That prototype is on display at the British Motor Museum at Gaydon in the UK. The A30 was replaced by the Austin A35 in 1956, by which time 223,264 A30s had been built. The A30 has a smaller rear window than the A35, and trafficators instead of modern indicators, which swung out from the B-pillar when operated by a knob mounted on the center of the dashboard. Performance. The car's newly designed A-Series straight-four engine was state-of-the-art for the time and returned an average fuel consumption of 42 mpg, under 7 L, 100 km. With spirited driving, the A30 was able to attain a top speed of 70 miles per hour, 110 km per hour, factory quoted. In its road test, the Motor magazine achieved a top speed of 67.2 miles per hour, 108.1 km per hour, and a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 42.3 seconds. Braking was affected by a hybrid system, with Lockheed fully hydraulic drum brakes at the front and a body-mounted single-cylinder operating rods to the rear wheels, which despite being heavily criticized as archaic and old-fashioned, were reported to be quite acceptable. The rod system provided good handbrake efficiency and was applied by a lever in an unorthodox position to the right of the driver's seat, right-hand drive vehicles. Bumps were handled by independent coil springs at the front end and beam axle, semi-elliptic leaf springs at the back.
A car tested by the Motor magazine in 1952 had a top speed of 62 miles per hour, 100 km per hour, and could accelerate from 0 to 50 miles per hour, 80 km per hour, in 29 seconds. A fuel consumption of 38.8 miles per imperial gallon, 7.28 L, 100 km, 32.3 mpg US, was recorded. The test car cost £553 including taxes. The optional radio was an extra £43 and the heater £9. Performance data need to be seen in the context of fuel availability. Early in the Second World War, branded fuel disappeared from sale in the UK, and the nationally available fuel available at the beginning of 1952 had an octane rating of just 70, which enforced relatively low compression ratios. This reduced the performance available from all cars, especially small ones. In 1952, branded fuels returned to the forecourts, available octane ratings began to increase, and compression ratios were progressively improved along with the performance figures of cars such as the Austin A30 and its A35 successor. 803 cc BMC A-Series engine inline 4. 58 mm bore by 76 mm stroke. Pushrod operated overhead valves. Compression ratio 7:2:1. Single Zenith 26JS or 26 VME carburetor. 28 bhp, 21 kilowatts, at 4,400 revolutions per minute. 40 pound-feet, 54 Newton-meters, at 2,200 revolutions per minute. The British Motor Corporation Limited, BMC, was a UK-based vehicle manufacturer, formed in early 1952 to give effect to an agreed merger of the Morris and Austin businesses. BMC acquired the shares in Morris Motors and the Austin Motor Company. Morris Motors, the holding company of the productive businesses of the Nuffield organization, owned MG, Riley, and Wolseley. The agreed exchange of shares in Morris or Austin for shares in the new holding company, BMC, became effective in mid-April 1952. In September 1965, BMC took control of its major supplier of bodies, pressed steel, acquiring Jaguar's body supplier in the process. In September 1966, BMC merged with Jaguar Cars. In December 1966, BMC changed its name to British Motor Holdings Limited, BMH. BMH merged, in May 1968, with Leyland Motor Corporation Limited, which made trucks and buses and owned both Standard Triumph International Limited and the Rover Company to become British Leyland. Thank you for watching British Classic Cars.